Hello and welcome to Real Watchers Movie Club. My name is Garrett.
And I'm Kevin.
And we are your hosts. Movie Club is the show where we discuss a movie every week and talk about it just like a book club. On today's show, we're covering the samurai drama epic, Seven Samurai. Our thoughts and more coming up on Movie Club. Released in 1954, Seven Samurai was directed by Akira Kurosawa and stars Toshiro Mifune, Takashi Shimura, and Yoshio Inaba. Apologies if there's any mispronunciation of those names. A samurai answers a village's request for protection after he falls on hard times. The town needs protection from bandits, so the samurai gathers 6 others to help him teach the people how to defend themselves, and the villagers provide the soldiers with food. A giant battle occurs shortly after when 40 bandits attack the village. It is currently ranked 22 on IMDb's Top 250 and has a 4.6 out of 5 on Letterboxd and is ranked number 4 on its Top 250. The film was nominated for 2 Academy Awards, including Best Art Direction and Best Costume Design. Before we dive into our thoughts, though, we do want to issue a spoiler warning, as always, for Seven Samurai. If you haven't seen the film yet, what are you doing? Go and watch it. It is on Max currently, so you can go and check it out there. It's okay. Pause the video, whatever you need to do. But stay tuned to the end of the video so you can find out what movie we're covering next week, because you're going to want to see it. Alrighty, Kevin. So back to kind of our turn kind of order stuff. Seven Samurai, my pick this week. Honestly, the only reason I picked it is because I love this movie. I think it is one of the most influential films of all time. It certainly influenced the Star Wars films, as well as several others, and notably got an American remake in the original Magnificent Seven, which Akira Kurosawa actually said is one of the best remake of anything he's ever made, famously giving the director of that film a ceremonial samurai sword, which is super sweet. I was just really excited because this is one of those films that is among the best films of all time that most people arguably haven't seen, that are in like the film circles and stuff, or at least starting their film journey like you are. And so really wanted to get your perspectives on it the first time. But what were your first thoughts coming out of the film before we kind of dive in a little bit more?
My first thoughts going into the film, I knew it was going to be a longer film, so I was trying to getting myself set up for that. But that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. But on your old podcast, the Drive Back podcast, you guys did it with Adrian, right? You and Adrian watched this movie, and so I kind of remembered what you guys said about it, and I was very excited to watch it. So going into it, I knew I wanted to watch it maybe in one full watching time or 2, and like maybe split it up in half. I did 2 watching times. I think I got up to like 3 hours or 2 hours and 45 minutes and then stopped it because I had to go to work, and then went out there. This movie's amazing, just flat out. So we'll go from there.
Yeah, I mean, this movie is. We used this word very recently with the Godfather, but I do think that this film is a masterpiece. I think that it is so widely revered and regarded for good reason. Like, this movie is gorgeous. It is so well thought out and written and so relatable. There's a reason why this was remade into the Magnificent Seven, and that movie is also well regarded here in the US because it's a universal theme, right, of coming together to protect a group of people from a bad group of people. And obviously, spoiler alert, heroic sacrifice ensues. It is just, it's beautifully done. And I don't think this is one of those movies that you need to have any knowledge of Japanese culture or any information whatsoever. Like, you could literally just go into this blind and be able to completely enjoy it. I do think what holds some people back from enjoying the film definitely are its length, because it is, I want to say 3 hours, Let me
in
see
20
here.
minutes or something.
207 minutes. So that is, yeah, it's 3 hours and 8 minutes, or 3 hours and 7 minutes, I believe. No, that's 3.5 hours. Sorry, I don't know why I thought it was 80 for an hour. But yeah, no, it is like, I think that's what holds a lot of people back. But then also, it's a double header. It's a foreign film that's in another language, but it
Yep.
is also black and white. And I think that is what really holds a lot of people back. But like a film that we have on our schedule coming up here, actually a couple of them, you really do get a sense of the art and like the work that goes into a black and white film to make it look as good as it does.
Yeah.
This is a film that rivals any film that's in color with how good it looks.
Yeah, exactly. The color contrast, which there's no color contrast, it's just black and white. But you can see the shades in this movie. And even when it's raining, I thought that would be so difficult while watching this. When the rain is implemented into this, like, how do you catch rain on a black and white film? And it does it really nicely here. It doesn't take away from the scene that is happening. And it just looks amazing. Period. End of story. This is it's amazing looking film, but it shows more contrast without having color in it than most like new movies do when they like put like a filter over it or something, which I don't think is necessary sometimes. It's just it looks so natural when it's black and white like this, and how well, they didn't have they probably did have lighting and everything like that, but they probably did it outside half the time too.
Oh, easily.
To get that natural light and everything. And you can't predict weather half the time, especially wherever they film this at. So having them,
I mean, there are ways where you can make it rain.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It doesn't have to be like, they don't have to film it when there's a storm going on, because that would create some inconsistencies. They do need to be able to control how much it is raining. But I get what you're saying, right? Like it feels real.
Yeah,
and I think that's kind of what you're getting at there.
exactly.
Like, there is a quality to films that are in black and white, especially early films like this, that almost feel like you're watching something as it happened. Like, I'm not, obviously this isn't based on a real story. This isn't like an actual historical event, but like, it feels like it's recorded, like, that this actually kind of a thing happened. But that's also due to a couple other factors in addition to its design and how good it looks.
Yeah, I mean, but it kind of is like, I don't want to say a documentary, but that's what it is. It feels like you're following these people. The camera, it doesn't move that much, so you're not like panning back and forth. It's staying in one spot, and you're watching them walk, or watching them fight, or watching them tell stories. So it kind of feels like a documentary a little bit in that aspect of it. But it's so damn beautiful. The characters, you care about all of them perfectly, like, and they give you time to understand all of them and to care about them, which half the movies nowadays you don't really care about the characters. So
Yeah.
and I get it's a 3 hour and 20-minute movie, but it's character building in through like the first hour. If you get through that hour, which you will because you want to care about these characters, you'll have a great time afterwards.
Yeah. And like the characters, kind of to expand on that, right? The characters are down to a couple of things. Obviously, you have Kurosawa's direction. Like, Kurosawa, like, he knows what he's looking for. He knows what he wants things to look like, and he knows how he wants people to act and how he wants them to be. And working alongside his actors is able to bring these characters to life. I can't think of a bad performance in this movie. And it's also kind of hard when you're looking at foreign films, right? Because obviously you and I don't speak fluent Japanese, and we can't really understand it. So when we see the performance, it looks so real and natural. Yeah. But to some people, it could be like Dakota Johnson and Madam Web. It could be that awkward and terrible, right? But like, to us, obviously, it comes off super real. No one says anything bad about the performances in this movie, and that's not what I'm trying to say. But like, the performances just look so perfect to us on a side that doesn't understand the language kind of conversationally. But in those performances, I do want to call out probably the best performance in this movie, and that is Toshiro Mifune as Kikuchio.
Is
Who
that
is
the lead samurai?
no, that is the samurai who doesn't fit in.
Oh yes, yeah.
Um, he is incredible.
He is.
The leader that you're talking about is Takashi Shimura, who played Kanbei Shimada.
Yeah.
Who is also fantastic,
Yeah.
as all of them are. But the Kikuchio is such an incredible character because he comes in, he's unlikable. He
No.
is, he's not pranked upon, but he's like joked about by the other samurai because he's clearly not fitting in. And then we do get this emotional arc to his character, which makes us understand what he was going through and how he got to where he is. And then he turns out to be a pivotal part of the final battle.
Yep.
It's absolutely insane. And Toshiro Mifune, who has worked in several samurai films, we will probably talk about him again at some point on this show, just because of how many films he's been in. He's been in several from Akira Kurosawa, but absolutely nails it on. Like, if I had to make a list, and I'll probably have to make a top 10 video about this at some point, of like my top 10 leading performances, this is one of them. He is absolutely fantastic and a revelation for me in this film.
And I watched a video, and I do apologize for the video person about the ending of this movie, because now I've started to do that just to make sure that I understand what was going on, especially in foreign films and later films. But it was interesting how he's really not a real samurai, but he wants to be one, if that makes sense. And you can, after the video person said that, I go, wait, that's so true. His sword is too big for him. He's kind of the goofball of everybody, and he just doesn't fit in. But at the end of the movie, everybody sees him as a samurai. So it really puts your mind out there that anybody can be a samurai no matter what, if you really want to put your mind to it and go through stipulations and everything like that. Even though he was the odd man out, even though he knew he was the odd man out, he wanted to prove himself to the other samurais that he belongs there. And after hearing that, I was like, wow, that he is my favorite character now, because I really liked the leader, how kind of strict he was, and he was such a like a karate teacher, didn't smile much or anything like that. But after hearing that, I'm like, yeah, he's just like a normal person that wants to do something good and wants to become a bigger person in this movie.
Yeah. And the ending of his story is totally fitting. And it fits that emotional arc, right?
Yeah.
It is just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
God, I apologize for not having like the proper words to say, but it is truly just, it is so good. There is a reason why so many people love this movie, and so many people consider it to be a masterpiece. Both visually and performance wise, but also like we gotta talk about that last battle. It is amazing, and it's not even like, I think lesser filmmakers today would go over the top. They'd go bombastic. I mean, there's a modern remake of Magnificent Seven that tries to do the same kind of thing, and it doesn't work. But this is so much more grounded and realistic, and it just makes so much sense for the film. And then for them to go through all of that, and then for them to lose 4 of the 7 samurai, and then after everything's said and done, go back to the life they were living.
Yeah. Like, it was not, I'm not going to say like it was nothing, but it was just like, okay, we did our job. We got to keep going, or let's move on from this. It's crazy. But I also like how it wasn't a big fight. Like, it is a big fight per se, but it was in waves of fights. It was, oh, a wave is coming now. Okay, they're coming from the north side. We got to pack that side up, or north side. I forget what side, but and then okay, that one's defeated, and then has them take time, because the other army, or the 40 people, aren't going to all bombard you at once if they see that their numbers are falling that far. So then they waited again, and then another wave came. And that was interesting. It's not just, 40 people came to the city. No, it was strategically planned to have half come and then half come later. But then you get the consequences of the first people coming when people die and the villagers die and everything. But it was just so good how it wasn't just an all-out brawl, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. It feels more grounded. It feels
Mm-hmm.
more realistic because
Mm-hmm.
they're not like, again, like they're ambushing. They are, they're doing things that we would do in a battle, right? Like against, like when you have untrained people fighting with you, and then you have less people with weaponry and
Mm-hmm.
training than the enemy has, you're going to take these guerrilla tactics. You're going
Yeah.
to do these same exact things to make sure that you're victorious.
Exactly.
It's so relatable.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about one of the things that I loved from the ending specifically, and it is the quote. And I know you said you watched a video on the ending of this film,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about that because it is very powerful, right?
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, for the samurai die, the bandits are defeated, and then the remaining samurai just watch the villagers go back to their work, and then one of them says this exact quote: "In the end, we've lost this battle too. The victory belongs to those peasants, not to us." Which is, when you think about this time period and how the samurai were kind of becoming they were almost like Ronin, right? They were wandering, masterless
Mm-hmm.
warriors. It's haunting, right? Yeah, they did the right thing, but like now they just have to go.
Yeah.
And they got to go back to what they were doing before. They're not getting a job out of this. They're not getting anything else. Which I think is why it served like as such a good inspiration for the Magnificent Seven, because the West was like that, especially as you got to like the 1900s. As the cowboys were beginning to go away, and the West was becoming more civilized, and it's a very similar idea to what the Ronin and the samurai were going through. So it's one of those things where, similar to the film No Country for Old Men, it deals with a time of change and the adapting to that change, and why Westerns do that very well, and why samurai films and Westerns have so much in common, because they are such a similar story, and it's so cool to think about. But yeah, I love this movie. I don't know. I don't know where else to kind of go with that.
I mean, watching this movie for the first time, I should say, was absolutely amazing. I know there is a Criterion collection, or it's on DVD or Blu-ray. I know you have it. I might be picking it up at the next Criterion sale. So I gave this movie a 99 out of 100. This is as you said in the beginning, a masterpiece. And it is, because of how amazing this film is, and how you care for the characters and everybody in the movie, which you should always do. Visual effects, amazing. I won't say visual effects.
The visual design,
amazing. Cinematography, out of this world, especially for the time period. Like you just can't get better of a movie than Seven Samurai. So 99 out of 100. If I watch this again, it might go to 100 out of 100. Who knows?
Well, there you go. Yeah, for me, like I said in the beginning, this film is a masterpiece. Originally, when I had reviewed this on the drive back, I gave it a 99 out of 100. And having rewatched it this time, after having seen it already, like I knew that I couldn't, in full faith, keep the review at a 99 out of 100. And so like this is Kurosawa's masterclass in how to make not only a samurai film, but just a film. It is pure and simple cinema magic, the same way The Godfather is, the same way other films that are coming up on this very show are cinema magic. And so because of that, I have it at a 100 out of 100. It is just another 5-star perfect movie, in my opinion. I mean, no movie's perfect, but as close as you can get to perfect. And just because of how much it has influenced some of our favorite directors. Kurosawa is like the inspiration for George Lucas and Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola and some of the best filmmakers of all time owe their careers and their inspiration to him. And that is absolutely fascinating and just so, incredible to know. So 100 out of 100 is the score that I have given the film. So the question now falls to you. What do you think of Seven Samurai? Make sure to go ahead and leave those comments down in the comment section down below. But remember to be respectful of one another, because you might be bandits and the other person might be a samurai. But next week, we will be covering the Hitchcock classic Rear Window. So super excited to talk about that movie as well. Make sure to watch it before next week so you aren't spoiled. But again, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to us here on Real Watchers. We do have our live stream that goes live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then obviously this show, Movie Club, comes out every Friday at 4 a.m. just in time for your morning commute, journey, sit at home, whatever it is. But then we also have Mondays are when other video content will occasionally release. So again, make sure you're subscribed to know when those videos go live. But until next time, remember to keep those eyes on the screen.